What makes a world-class software product?
We underestimate the power of really simple, easy-to-use UI. The reason why ChatGPT just blew up, it's so simple. It's just a chatbot. And I think as we think about building out the future of where AI goes in the consumer landscape, it's how do you deliver consistent, intuitive value that feels truly effortless.
CC Gong.
She is a White House Presidential Innovation Fellow,
product leader, and principal at Menlo Ventures.
What's important to you when deciding to invest in a startup?
Always comes down to the basics of...
Welcome back to Decoded. My name's Alfie Whattam, and this is the show where I speak to experts about what it takes to build great teams and companies. Make sure that you click the follow or subscribe button for more great content like this, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. Okay, CC, you work for Menlo Ventures, which has invested in Uber, Roku, Warby Parker, and so many other successful companies. What's important to you when deciding to invest in a startup?
It always comes down to the basics of founder, market. At the core, it's usually those two. And so for the founder, it's founder market fit. And for the market, it's how big do we see this opportunity being?
Okay, so solid team that are invested in that space and understand the domain really, really well. And then a large enough TAM. So if they do achieve the amazing end result, it will have a big enough return so that everybody that gets involved can experience a good upside, basically.
Yes. And so do they have, and with the crux of these two, do they have a clear differentiated approach to solving problems?
Okay. How do you determine what that approach would be? Because oftentimes, like as an angel, I see, especially in the world of AI, I see 5 of exactly the same pitch deck and exactly the same company. It's hard to determine like who's got that unique secret, who actually has that like special sauce that separates them from the rest. Like when you're just doing a 20-minute meeting and when you've got a 10 slide deck, it's really hard to tell the difference. So how do you determine that sort of unique factor?
Yeah, I think we look for, and I usually do more consumer tech. And so we have this kind of consumer code where we look for something that's at the crux of some, this four converging aspects of a uniquely capable team with a scalable growth engine, with compelling unit economics, and it serves a widespread need. So those 4 things, and you'd be surprised how many people get like 3 or 1 or 2 of those, but to get all 4 and do it really well is actually really, really hard. And every team can have a similar vision or solve a similar problem, but to be able to truly know how to create a scalable growth engine, understand their unit economics, to have working, compelling unit economics. And there's a lot that goes in there. There's a lot of levers you can pull in there with a uniquely capable team. So we see how fast you're executing, how well you're executing. A lot of times you have companies building the exact same thing, but it's usually we just see someone out execute. And what that means is speed. It's and speed comes down to so many factors, coming down to just even like the culture of the team. Like how do you create a culture where you're just sprinting at the wall or just sprinting? And then the need, I think people have different flavors of how they're solving problems.
You mentioned founder market fit a moment ago in your answer. Would you rather invest in founders with deep subject matter knowledge in that particular vertical, but you weren't that excited about the space, it wasn't quite hot to you? Or would you rather invest in a founder who has no background in that industry, but it's really hot, it's really exciting, you think it's taking off, it's where all the money's going? If you had both opportunities, which one would you bet on?
That's a great question. I personally would bet on the latter, actually, because I think market pull wins. At the end of the day, you can have an okay founder in a really hot space and they'll still get pulled along by the tide versus you can have the best founder in the world in a just not good market and they'll still languish.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Okay, so you see pitch deck after pitch deck from founders trying to raise capital. What are common red flags which keep coming up, which make you say no? What are the things that you consistently see which make you pass on somebody?
I think one is so part of the job of VC is asking questions and seeing their depth of thinking. And I think a red flag for me is when a founder doesn't know their space like the back of their hand. Like any founder should be the world's expert in whatever they're building. And any question that a VC who doesn't know that much can come up with, a founder should be able to answer, whether it's your competitive landscape, whether it's your market dynamics, other players, roadblocks that might come ahead. Just the depth of thinking needs to be deeper than anyone else. And so I think a red flag is when, and I'm not asking you to answer every question. Like there will be things where you just don't know, like there is no answer to that. And I appreciate when founders say, hey, I don't know, let me get back to you. But I think just the depth of thinking should show that you've been thinking about this like 24/7 because as a founder.
Yeah, look, I completely agree with what you're saying. When I was raising my pre-seed for my startup with VCs, I often found they'd ask a question, and because I was so obsessed with my space of AI in recruiting, I previously had compared and compiled like a Notion document with like 10 different thoughts around this area, what competitors are doing, using deep research tools and O3 to kind of get this understanding. So when I was able to send that to them as a response, it was so much better than just saying, I don't know, oh, I haven't thought about that before. So I completely agree with what you're saying, like going the extra mile and doing that research beforehand, so every question they throw at you, you've at least thought about it, will really separate you. This is a quick message to tell you about my company, Alpha AI. We built Lisa, the world's first AI-powered recruiter who screens candidates for you on autopilot. You can make your recruitment process 10 times faster, 90% lower cost, and significantly improve the candidate experience, all with our AI agent for hiring. Learn more at welovealpha.com or click the link below in the description. And now, back to the episode. Can I just ask around, that was great advice for companies that are doing the pitch with you, but 99% of them that send you a deck or send VCs a deck in general don't get the chance to do that pitch because VCs are just overwhelmed. There's so much opportunity there. What's the red flag you see on the actual slide deck that stops you from wanting to speak to somebody?
I think just buzzwords, seeing a lot of buzzwords with no substance is a red flag for me. There's decks that are vague and say all the right things with all the right buzzwords, but going into the meat of what you're actually building. And so oftentimes for a very common, like what's a very common idea? It's like AI sales tools or like AI travel tools. Like there's a lot of these. And so I want to see a demo like that. I actually watch all the videos that get sent. Actually, pretty effective I've seen is some founders are now starting to send video decks. And so it's just a video run through of them walking through a demo of their product. And I think that's very enlightening. And
I'm with you. I'm a big believer in demos over decks. You know, show me what you've built. Don't tell me what you've built. I think it's a great way of separating like people that have actually done it versus those that just talk about it. I mean, this can apply to your world as well, because you previously co-founded an AI video company, Montage. AI can be seen as a buzzword, but obviously it is really, really impacting and changing the world when it's done properly. So how do you see AI changing the world over the next, let's say, 5 years?
It's going to fundamentally change the way we work and play and live. We're already seeing it in the way we work. So it started with coding, for example. It can pretty much 10x any engineer now. And so what we're seeing is that moving downstream of being able to enable people to get rid of the mundane, tedious things. Like think of anything that you don't like to do today that's mundane or tedious, that should be taken care of by AI. And as it accelerates, It is to be seen. The debate of AGI, is out there. I don't think we're going to have AGI in the next 5 years, but I think we'll see basically everyone having an assistant that helps them 10x their lives.
Do you think it will be a assistant at like a foundational level, like a GPT, which will just do so many of the different things? Or do you think it will be a case of assistants and various application layer AI companies that are world-class at their individual things? The reason I say that is, like, I have an AI agent for hiring company, which allows recruiters to do 10 times more work, gets rid of 90% of the admin. So it's the perfect assistant for that use case. But it wouldn't be great if you tried to use it for a travel purpose or a coding purpose. Do you think there'll be a single unified assistant that most people use, or do you think that market will be more fragmented across different agents?
Yeah. Great question. We're already seeing that today, where for a large majority of use cases, ChatGPT or Claude is enough because of the general data that it has access to. But if you think about any use case where you need specific tailored data, that's where we need to see more specific tooling come out. And so those are the companies that are getting access to proprietary data sets. For example, we invested in Slingshot, which has proprietary access to therapy data. And so creating the first foundation model for psychology, that's very specific. And so ChatGPT, Claude, they're kind of foundation models being, they want to serve the world. They're a model company. They're not going to specialize in every field in the world. And so I think the moat comes for a specific tool when there's some data that's not available to everyone. And if you need some sort of specific data to create that product, that's where we'll see specific tools coming out.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Okay, last question. Before venture, you worked in product at Meta and at Microsoft, some of the most successful product companies in the world. What makes a world-class software product?
Great question. I think we underutilize, or we underestimate the power of really simple, easy to use UI. There's a lot of consumer AI tools popping up. And I think the reason why ChatGPT just blew up, it's so simple. It's just a chatbot. You literally just type your thoughts into it and it spits back responses. And I think as we think about building out the future of where AI goes in the consumer landscape, it's how do you deliver consistent, intuitive value that feels truly effortless. Like you want people to feel good when they're using it and to not have to spin cycles on figuring out, how to use something. It's how do you create really simple, intuitive UI, and that goes for both consumer and B2B products. Another is being highly responsive to user feedback. So being able to, I think the teams that are able to iterate quickly on feedback and move faster on responding to user demand those are the ones that become world-class, right? Because everyone can start out the gate at the same level, but the ones who pull ahead are the ones who are able to respond to feedback and the pull of the market faster. And so that rapid iteration that comes with the shorter feedback cycles contributes to making a world-class product. And I think, at the end of the day, it's just the team that really understands user motivation and why they're using something and building for that will be the team that builds the world-class software product.
It's simplicity and its speed. I mean, we find that some of the best startups in the world, they start by doing one thing really, really, really well, and then they get really, really big and they try to do everything and then they fail. And that's why then a startup comes along and it eats the enterprise's lunch and it takes a feature that they've got and it does it 10 times better than they've done, and it just makes it a lot more successful. And I love what you said around speed, because again, after they become that enterprise, they become slow. They've got 10 levels of approval before any small product decision gets made. And it's really the small, nimble, exciting, fast-moving teams that are able to completely revolutionize markets and change the world, because they adopt that approach of like, how can I just make this better for my users as fast as possible? Yeah,
I totally agree.
Cool. Stacey, if people enjoyed this, where can they find out more? Should they contact you on LinkedIn or X, or what's the best place to go?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, X, all of the above.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Alfie.
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you click the follow or subscribe button wherever you're watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Introducing Lisa, the world's first AI-powered recruiter. She's an AI agent who works 24/7, screening candidates on autopilot, conducting interviews in 30 different languages, uploading all the best candidates to your applicant tracking system. Hire 10 times faster at 90% lower cost and significantly improve the candidate experience. Visit welovealpha.com to start your free trial now.